Work forever and be happy. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's check out this article from news.com.au about increasing the pension. We're going to have to work forever, guys, and we're going to have to be happy. Isn't it awesome? So working Australians respond to a new proposal increasing the pension age to 70. So think about it, the current generation that's working, you're paying high taxes, you're forced to save for your own retirement to access your super, a bit of your money's taken away, housing is more expensive than ever, and you're paying for retirements for previous generations. It's even more frustrating when civil servants get these bullshit pensions and super payments that aren't available anymore. So yeah, it's completely unfair. Don't worry, they'll make you work longer to pay for them, guys. So, working Australians have lashed out at new modelling suggesting the country's pension age should increase to 70 years by 2050. Low birth rates and an ageing population are to blame for the need to increase the age of retirement, according to new research by Macquarie University's Business School. I mean, they're probably completely right. But this is why we're seeing a continued push for migration into Australia to ensure this doesn't happen. So they're going to cop the economic consequences of overheating demand for certain assets like housing to mitigate this population decline that will be competing with other countries moving forward up to 2050. We're going to reach peak population in the world, and it's going to start going down. Currently, senior Australians are eligible for the age pension at 65 years and 6 months if they were born between July 1, 52 and December 31, 53. Those born after the later date and before the 30th of June 55 can receive senior welfare benefits once they turn 66 years old. The age is then increased to 66 years and 6 months for those born between July 1, 55 and December 31, 65. And it doesn't end there. With the pension age increasing yet again on July 1 this year to 67 years for those born after January 1, 57. So there you go. How many of us have to wait till we're 67? We've got to work those 2 extra years compared to previous generations. They're going to keep pushing it up, guys. In addition to reaching age requirements, there are also a number of income, residence, and asset tests one must meet to be eligible for the welfare payment. According to the university's statistician, Professor Hanlin Shang, and his co-authors, 3 more pension age increases should occur in the next 27 years based on their analysis. By 2030, it will increase to 68, before rising to 69 and 36, and 70 by 2050. It's hoped this formula will help working Australians sustain the livelihoods of their elderly unemployed counterparts. I'm more concerned that this will be calls for voluntary euthanasia. We'll start to see some of the horror stories that, like in Canada. Less people in the working group and more in retirement will make the old age dependency ratio higher, Professor Shang told Macquarie University's The Lighthouse publication. What this means is there are less working people to support elderly people. And with more elderly people in the population, this will create a burden for the government pension system. It also predicted the number of centenarians will soar by 2050 to 50,000 people, according to the Federal Government Treasury Office, giving more reason to increase the pension age. I would argue also that we're going to see, well, look at America. Lifespans are going down for the first time. If we continue down this high plant-based diet, we're not going to continue to extend our lifespans. Look at all the carbohydrates and seed oils people eat. It's not going to change. If anything, it'll go backwards. Who would have ever thought there would be so many centenarians, Professor Shang said. As people live longer, there is a longevity risk and they'll consume more pension from the government. So, while it's great to see people live longer, news of the pension age rise wasn't entirely welcomed by millennials, Gen Z and Gen X, who just realized their time in the workforce is about to be lengthened. I'm turning 40 this year. If I can work until 70, it'll be a miracle, one father of 3 tweeted. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect to ever stop working. What you do is you work, stop, then die. Isn't that the man's life? I work in a labourer's job. Yeah, that's the problem. You're not going to be able to do that until you're 70. That's the thing with the tradies. Their bodies get hammered. I mean, I've injured myself from just my little home owner builder construction. So, and have many injuries. One major injury in the last 2 years. My body is already telling me it wants to stop and find an easier job. One Gen X employee added, try and be a tradie at 70. Yeah, it's not possible. It's not possible. People do it. I was ringing up a local plumber. We need to get a sewer line connected. And she was saying, I'll call back in a week, such and such. He's got all these back issues. He's going to the chiro or doctor or whatever. 50 years old. People in their 60s are exhausted. I'm in my 40s and I'm exhausted. I was doing a premiere last night and it was like 6 o'clock and I was falling asleep. I passed out on the couch for like an hour and a half. I've got back pain from nursing. I cannot work anymore. People should not have to work in old age, a retired nurse from the boomer generation commented. So, meanwhile, other working Australians said they were saving money now and increasing their superannuation payments as they don't expect to receive the pension by the time they retire. We need to really push the FIRE movement. Financially independent, retire early. I've been telling my kids for years to put money away as there won't be a pension as we know it. Luckily, my advice is sort of being listened to, one parent said. Another young Aussie added, I'm exactly this age. Unfortunately, I don't think there will be a pension for me. I've been putting extra into super since I was 32 in preparation for having to be self-funded. Boomers with $1 million homes that claim a pension really shit me. I mean, there you go. Yeah. I wonder if housing, there'd be more movement. Well, a lot of the boomers still downsize, don't they? Those born in the boomer era have their birthdays between 55 and 64, whereas Gen X were born between 65 and 80. Millennials were 81 to 96, and Gen Z being 97 to 2012. The situation could have been worse. While Professor Shang's modelling paints a bleak future for working Australians, in hindsight, I'm going to turn off suggestions for this. In hindsight, what Prime Minister Tony Abbott's Treasury proposed in the 2014 federal budget, the Liberal Party suggested increasing the retirement age a lot earlier, with it to rise by 6 months every 2 years from July 2025. This would mean the qualifying age for the pension would have reached 70 years by July 35, 15 years prior to Shang's prediction. I mean, this is just going to save them money because you have people on 65, instead of going on the pension or 66 or whatever, they're just going to go on work for the dole. Or will be on unemployment benefits. So they'll save them money. There you go. Fortunately, former Prime Minister Scott Morrison abandoned the never legislated policy in September 2018, along with the Rudd Labor government, passing laws to lift the pension age to 67 by July this year. The decision was applauded by the Australian Institute of Superannuation Trustees Chief Executive, Eva Sherlink. We welcome recognition by the coalition that raising the pension age access to 70 was flawed policy and was out of step with the reality for many older, vulnerable Australians, she said in 2018. Retirement income policies need to recognise that many individuals will have a different work pattern and may not necessarily be in a position to choose their own retirement age. So alternatives to increasing the number of working Australians. The government may be able to come up with a solution to saving working Australians' retirement plans, with Professor Shang suggesting the country's leaders should look overseas. Yeah, well. His first proposal is to drive up the total fertility rate by introducing a government policy similar to the ones in Canada, Singapore and South Korea. The government provides affordable childcare at $10 a day. The South Korean... this sounds like a really good policy. The South Korean government offers new parents $10,500 And in recent Singapore budget, to encourage higher birth rates, parents will receive an additional $3,000 baby bonus, paid parental leave, and tax relief for working mums. Yeah, this is brilliant. Let's do that. Or let's get the Hungarian policy where you don't have to pay any tax after 4 kids. I like these ideas. For those of you that don't know, I'm a father of 6 with number 7 on the way. So such proposals will be welcomed by working Australian parents who constantly face the decision of forking out hundreds in childcare fees to stay in a job or give up work so they can care for their children. Meanwhile, Professor Shang proposed increasing the number of migrants welcomed to Australia in a bid to increase both fertility rates and the country's future workforce as the current population ages. And this is why you'll never see there be an open debate about seriously curtailing immigration into Australia. 100% this reason. Let's have a talk about this. I mean, this is the takeaway here, guys. The pension age is going to rise. It's going to get higher. Hey, it'll be like the cash rate. And you're going to see more and more calls for bringing people into the country because we're not having enough kids. We're not. You got people out there that won't, just understandably, won't want to have children because they can't afford a house. So you've got Australians here who won't have children, and then that's going to, well, mean that the ability for the government to provide the welfare systems that people have, with all good intention, been forced to pay into and expected to take advantage of in their old age. So then you'll have to see immigration will go right up. It's not going to stop, guys. We need to get housing cheaper so people start families. It really is. Housing affordability is a huge issue in this country. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out Heise BIM or Heise Does for other videos I create. If you're a fan and want to support the channel, you can on YouTube or Patreon. You can use our referral links via Pocket Squares or call me if you need an architect. Take care. Have a great day. I'll see you all in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now.